The Krell armada hung in the void like a swarm of metallic locusts, their crimson hulls gleaming against the dying light of the human colony world below. Admiral Vexthor watched the debris field through his command deck's viewing port, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. The human defense fleet had been utterly destroyed. 73 warships reduced to scattered wreckage in less than 2 hours. "Status report," Vexthor demanded, his translator rendering his chittering speech into standard galactic. "All human vessels destroyed, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "We're detecting minimal escape pod signatures. The colony's orbital defense platforms are offline. Ground forces report the surface installations are abandoned. The humans have fled." Vexthor's compound eyes glittered. In his 3 centuries of military service, he had conquered 17 species. Humans were supposed to be different, stubborn, creative, unpredictable. Yet they had broken like all the others. The Galactic Council had warned the Krell Dominion that humans were dangerous, that their recent admission to galactic society should be handled delicately. Vexthor had scoffed at such weakness. "Begin landing operations," he ordered. "I want all human technology cataloged and—" "Admiral!" The communications officer's carapace flushed orange with alarm. "We have a problem. One of the destroyed human vessels, the destroyer Defiant, its reactor core is still active." Vexthor turned. "A wreck with a functioning core? It will burn out soon enough." "No, sir. It's moving, adjusting trajectory." On the tactical display, a single red dot separated from the debris field, the shattered remains of a human destroyer, its hull breached in a dozen places, atmosphere venting yet somehow still capable of maneuvering. Vexthor leaned forward, fascinated despite himself. "Hail them," he ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a human male in a tattered uniform, blood streaming from a gash above his eye. Behind him, the bridge was a nightmare of sparking consoles and exposed wiring. He was alone. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Earth Defense Force destroyer Defiant," the human said, his voice hoarse but steady. "I'm the last one. My crew is gone. My ship is dying. But I'm not done yet." Vexthor's mandibles spread in what his species considered a smile. "Captain Chen, you are one being on a crippled vessel facing an armada of 300 warships. Surrender and I will grant you an honorable death." Chen wiped blood from his eye, leaving a crimson streak across his face. "You know what the difference is between humans and every other species you've conquered, Admiral? We don't know when to quit. We're too stupid to understand when we've lost." The human's hands flew across his console. The Defiant accelerated directly toward the Krell formation. "He's attempting a ramming attack," the tactical officer reported. "Laughable. Even if he strikes the flagship, our shields will—" "He's not heading for us," Vexthor interrupted, studying the trajectory. "He's targeting the ammunition transport." Realization struck like a plasma bolt. The Vindictive's Glory, laden with 3 million tons of antimatter warheads, sat in the center of their formation. Standard protocol, but they had never faced an enemy insane enough to— "All ships, emergency scatter," Vexthor roared. "Move now." But Krell vessels were built for overwhelming firepower, not agility. The massive warships began their ponderous turns, but Chen's destroyer was a meteor of determination and fury. Point defense lasers tore into the Defiant's hull, carving through armor and support structures. Explosions rippled across the destroyer's frame. Yet Chen kept coming. "He should be dead," the tactical officer whispered, watching the human ship's life support readings flatline. "The bridge has lost atmosphere. He can't possibly—" Chen appeared on screen again, his face blue from oxygen deprivation, ice crystals forming on his skin. He had sealed himself inside an emergency vac suit, but it was damaged, leaking. His lips moved, and the translator picked up his words. "For Earth, for my crew, for every human who's going to come after me and finish what we started." The Defiant struck the Vindictive's Glory at 17% of light speed. The antimatter warheads detonated in a cascade reaction that turned night into day across half the planet. The shockwave caught 60 Krell warships in its immediate radius, vaporizing them instantly. Another 100 were crippled by the electromagnetic pulse and debris storm. Vexthor's flagship tumbled through space, systems failing as the Admiral watched his armada disintegrate. When the light faded and the sensors recalibrated, only 73 Krell ships remained combat-capable, barely a quarter of the invasion force. And from the planet's surface, new signals emerged. The human colonists hadn't fled. They had been waiting, hiding in their fortified installations, watching to see if the fleet could buy them time. Now they launched their own counterattack. Missiles and fighters rising from concealed silos while the Krell armada reeled in chaos. Vexthor pulled himself upright in his command cradle, ichor leaking from a dozen wounds. On his flickering screen, he saw human reinforcements emerging from hyperspace. A battle group that had been too far away to join the initial defense. They wouldn't have arrived in time. The colony would have fallen. But one human, one dying man on a crippled ship, had refused to accept defeat. And in refusing, he had turned catastrophe into victory. The Admiral understood at last why the Galactic Council had warned them. Humans didn't fight like other species, with calculated risk assessment and strategic withdrawal when losses became unacceptable. They fought like the universe itself owed them victory, and they would spend their last breath collecting that debt. As his flagship lost power and human boarding craft approached, Vexthor clicked his mandibles in something that might have been respect. One human had survived the battle, and that had been all it took to win.